They're talking about the numbers of cases. They're testing. So by April 18th, they had tested 3.6 million people.
Okay.
At this point, they've tested 28.5 million people.
The cases are going up. Shocking.
Right. Now, you look at the percentages, and there's a different story. They're not talking about the fact that the percentage of asymptomatic cases is much higher now. Why? Because who was getting sick back then?
Old people.
Right.
And now it's young people, the healthier people.
Right. But they don't want to talk about that. You know?
And that's another thing with the age difference, the whole age difference, and wearing a mask and not wearing a mask. I wear a mask every day to work. If I go shopping, I wear a mask. Now, I have to wear a mask at work because our industry, we never shut down. We never slowed down, okay, because we supply.
There's a lot of places that require masks.
Right. And we were very safe. And we had one person with one case, and he picked it up from his wife, who was a RN at a nursing home. She got it. He's her husband, so he stayed home for 2 weeks, and that was fine. Yeah. Right. But doing the smart thing.
Right.
If you do the smart thing, you're going to flatten the curve, because that was the goal all along.
It was flatten the curve.
Yeah, not make sure that nobody gets sick.
Right.
Because there's two ways around this. Either more than 60% of the population gets it, or we find a vaccine. In the meantime, we're going to live with it. And how long have we had viruses like AIDS? Is there an AIDS virus?
It still exists.
I'm sorry. Is there an AIDS vaccine?
No.
How long has AIDS been around?
Since the 80s.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what they do is people who have, and it's funny because this is.
But there's no vaccine. There's treatments, but there's no vaccine.
And that's one of the reasons why I have a little weird thing with Fauci. Because in school, I had a political science project, a political science internship where they gave us 3 teams and they all picked a congressman or a state senator position on AIDS, and we would help research it for them, and we would deliver them, our results. So I took a Republican who was I didn't even remember his name because I wasn't in the political science department. I was just doing this to do it. I was in a different department. So the person picked this state senator who was a Republican, but who cared about AIDS.
Sure.
The other person, there was 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. The other person picked a Republican who was just a hardcore, evangelicus, said AIDS is the devil, whatever. So it
serves those people right, one of those guys.
And then there was a moderate Democrat, and then there was an extreme left Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was, I was really the one diving. I met a couple virologists. I really got into it because and I actually observed a couple viruses. I really got into the whole macrophage and neutrophil. All these, all the different factors. B cells, T cells, all that. Got into it. Learned it. I have a pretty good knowledge of it for a non-doctor.
Sure.
Know the basics. So they found something about the consistency. This is in 1992. They found there was a reason why a particular part of the population, gay men, got it more. And there was a scientific, and this is before it was publicly announced what this was. At the time, they were promoting, and this is why I'm very skeptical of the COVID stuff. Mm-hmm. At the time, what they were saying is, regardless of who you are, regardless of what kind of sex it was, sex gave you an equal opportunity to get AIDS. It's not true.
That's correct.
It's not true. But, so I was compiling that information. This woman, white girl, came over to me from the other group, found out what I was doing, and was like, this is what she told me. She says, if you send that to this guy, I'm going to go to the Black Student Alliance and sick them on you.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, because what it was is that anal sex adds a level of risk.
Because it introduces blood.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It has nothing to do with you being gay.
Right.
It's
not
the
type of sex that gay people have.
Right. So if you're heterosexual and that you have the same risk.
Same thing, right.
But so they were like, well, we're going to brand you, me personally, not anyone else. There were 4 other people in the group. But she goes, we're going to brand you. She told me this. We're going to make you out to be like a homophobe. And at the time, I hung out with these frat guys.
Was that the introduction of the cancel culture back then?
Yes. And what's so funny is I hung out with these frat guys who I had to like every day, dude, you can't say that. Don't say that. I was friends with these frat dudes, but I would always be like, I was trying to be like, dude, stop calling her that, you know? Mm-hmm. And they were decent guys, but so the people I hung out with, the last thing they gave a crap. And I was just like, why does she think I even give a crap about this? She thought that because she was told that all black people were liberal. And she thought that threat worked on me. Mm-hmm. So, of course, my reaction was I wrote a whole big thing, and I told this state senator what happened, and he just went off, you know. And
so once again, you didn't comply.
I didn't care. But I remember going to a meeting the last day we went there, and there was a video, and there were people protesting. This is in Peoria. And there were people there just going off on this guy who had the National Institute of Health.
Yeah.
Saying this guy's a racist and he's a anti-homosexual, boom, boom. It was Dr. Fauci.
Really?
Gay people hated him because when he was working on the project for the treatment of AIDS, they claim he locked gay people out. Now, what he says today is, oh, well, I was just trying to get them to come in. But really what happened was, and I remember this, someone who worked in the Fauci didn't want to bring them in because he assumed that if you identified his treatment with gay people,
nobody would care. Yeah.
That's the real reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just interesting seeing the left embrace him now.
Well, is that not unlike? I mean, he came clean on the at first I said you don't need to wear a mask, and I said you need to wear a mask. It's because basically I lied because we didn't have enough PPE for all the people in the hospitals, and we wanted them to show up for work. Well, you lied.
That's not the way to do that.
You just lied, okay? And the truth, I mean, you have that, and then now since this whole thing started in I guess February is when it first started to hit the news,
right?
Well, we just don't know. Okay, that's fine. That was February.
Right.
We're almost to July, and you still don't know. Okay, you got to know. You got to know something. You have to give us some firm answers. And I don't think they're lying when they say they don't know. But for everyone that says I don't know, you get some Dr. So-and-so. I don't know if he's a Dr. Phil doctor or a Dr. J doctor, but somebody on George Norrie will say, look, here's what it is.
Right.
And then people buy it. And it's snake oil, okay? But he has the answer. People need an answer. Americans especially.
Yeah.
Maybe Italians will stay locked down for a year, but Americans aren't going to do that.
Well,
we're not that way.
They're not going to lock back down.
No, this country will never lock back down.
I do a lot of work in St. Charles, St. Peter's, Wentzville. I don't see hardly anyone in masks, whatever.
No.
And they have very low rate. They have very low rates of COVID mortality.
Mm-hmm, right.
It hasn't.
Once upon a time, a month or so ago, something like 88% of all the deaths in St. Charles County were either people who lived in a nursing home,
right,
or were 80 years or older.
Right.
Virtually all.
Well, because the thing about it is that's where it's deadly.
Right.
And the problem was, New York and all these places, they had a policy that was insane.
Yeah.
And Florida didn't.
They put them into there.
And that's why they're going after Florida, Arizona, and all. And that kind of bothers me. Mm. They're going after them because they didn't have that policy, and they had deaths, but not like New York. And they're quote red states, whatever the hell that means.
Right.
Doesn't mean anything. There's no such thing as a red state and a blue state, really. But anyway, I mean, the point is though that people are telling me, well, I can't believe that you're questioning Fauci because who are you? The fact is, I've actually been involved in a project dealing with this dude, and it's the same. This is who he is.
Yeah.
Fauci is a guy who's like, hey, I'm on your side, yeah. And then he's like, really, I don't give a damn about you. And he says it in his voice, and you think, where's Danny DeVito? It's like, I'm sorry, people are not going to believe. If you're going to give me bad news, give me bad news with a presentation of, hey, look, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah, this is bad because of A, B, C, and D. Instead, look, this is bad because we think it is, but we really don't know. So just stay inside until further notice.
And in professional science communication, if you're going to change, it's okay to say you made a mistake, but you have to come out and say, we made a mistake, or we're changing because. You can't come out and say, well, it's because masks don't help. Oh, wait, no, I just lied to you. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So they're just going to have to figure something out. I mean, like I said, I'm not one of those people that slams on people wearing masks. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, I understand why certain people get panic attacks when they wear them. Certain people, and then there's certain people who had the disease, who got over it. They don't feel like they should have to have it.
Well, I mean, your job during the day, you can't wear a mask and do your job. You can't.
No way. I probably would have had a heart attack.
Exactly.
It just doesn't. And the thing is, people aren't really asking for that, you know. And so my point is that I think, like I said, the people that I know, they'll like write a comment and they'll end it with "wear a mask," and I'm like, well, you're making people not want to wear a mask. I've been trying to explain that for 3 years. Or they'll say, "Stay the F inside."
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, if you tell people that, then they think that you're nuts. And they never told anyone this. Now, what is this?
If you give them a good reason for doing it, wow, I never thought of it that way.
But the problem is the same people that were saying, "Stay the F inside." That was when I first started driving them. I was leaving them alone until they said, "Stay inside." I know for a fact they didn't say, "Stay inside." And I already knew just from having but they kept saying, "You don't know anything about this." But I actually have experience in this. I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But I've done a lot of people who are scientists don't know how to write. I've done technical writing for doctors. I've even trained some people in science how to write and how to communicate in the media and how to get. I know about it's a multi-dimensional operation. And when they say to you, "You don't know this, you don't know that," that's not an argument. That's an appeal to authority.
Yeah.
If you can prove me wrong, prove me wrong. But when they were saying stay inside, I was like, you know what, man? You're going to find that they're going to eventually tell you that being outside is fine. And what happened?
They said staying outside. In fact, it's not only it's fine, but it's preferred.
The same people are saying, oh, well, the protesters, they're not going to get COVID because they're outside. The same people that were telling everyone to stay inside, to stay the F inside, like cursing at them.
Yeah.
Are now saying, oh, because I identify with the protesters.
Now it's okay.
And I don't like the people in the Ozarks. So I'm cool with you saying the protesters didn't get it as much. But the cats in the Ozarks, none of them have died either.
Yeah.
They were outside, but they're the enemy.
In my own little parochial way, the reason I social distance, the reason I limit contact, the reason I wear masks is because of my place of employment. Early on, they said, "Look, we can't shut down. We make wet wipes. We make tooling for surgical mask manufacturers. We make tooling for surgical gown manufacturers. We have to stay open. I mean, you know, hand over your heart, salute the Benny Hill salute. We have to help the country, okay? And we put very strict disciplines in place, and nobody got sick.
Right.
So I can see. Look." I can tell you, I don't know what the Dr. Fauci or the rest of them say, but I can tell you what we did, and it worked. Nobody got sick.
Right.
You don't argue with success.
Right.
You don't. We're a smaller company, but still, nobody got sick. I know a lot of people, the people who work for these people, Lysol. They make these wipes in St. Peters, Missouri. They buy a lot of stuff from me to make those wipes, okay?
Right.
We closed our lunchroom down. You cannot eat lunch in the building.
Right.
Because you have to take off your mask to eat lunch outside. Go to your car, walk around the block, go home. You cannot eat in the building. I know people who they send them home for 2 weeks because one person at the lunch table had tested positive for COVID-19. So everyone in contact with them at the lunch table had to go home for 2 weeks. That killed their production, okay? We shut our lunch table down. So everything I read, and I read too much about this probably.
Right.
But if you wear a mask in public, stay away from crowds, social distance, and spend a lot of time outside, like this podcast by the pool that we're doing right now, you're probably not going to get it if you take those precautions. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I may get malaria from mosquito bites I'm getting tonight, but
So
I'm not going to get COVID-19.
What I believe is that the other side of it what's really interesting about St. Peter, I drove by a bar or restaurant, something, a couple nights ago in St. Charles. I mean, it looked pretty damn full.
Yeah.
And then one St. Peter's, it was, I don't know, again, it looked like it was like because they have inside dining.
They do.
It didn't look like the 25